Hello again, Pat here from Redford's Auctioneers, author of the book Avoid Tenants from Hell while Maximising Profits and Increasing Your Wealth. Principle 6 of the book is don't rush the decision. Don't rush the decision, in particular with tenants. Make sure you have all the information, get as much information as you can on them, and then make a decision. Never take a tenant who says, look, I have to move out of my current house today, I can move in today, here's the money. Don't ever take a tenant like that in the spot. I know it can be very pressurised situation when they have the money and they want to move fast, but never do. Take the references, get their landlords and work references, and make sure these are contacted, and you can come to an informed decision then. There will be a number of times when landlords are desperate to get tenants into a property. It might be for a number of reasons, but usually they need the money. Never put a tenant into a property unless you are sure that they're going to be good tenants. This is a business and something that cannot be emotional about. Your personal circumstances cannot sway your judgment when it comes to tenants. If this happens, wrong decisions are made, you put the wrong tenants in there, and again you're back to a lot of stress and anxiety and problems and time. You're far better off having the property vacant than putting a bad tenant in there. No, I'm going to say that again. You're far better off having a vacant property than putting the wrong tenant into a property. Bad tenants again will maximise your stress levels. They'll give you endless worries, so look, you need to avoid them at all costs. Always ask them why they're moving. You'll be surprised at how many of them say, oh, my landlord wants me out as soon as possible. The reason he wants them out as soon as possible is because they're bad tenants. And even though they might have the money and 2 or 3 months up front of rent, do not take them because they will cause you problems. You need to know how to interpret their body language, and that's a vital step of the process as well. Something I don't really have time to go into today, but just a couple of quick things. If you're asking them questions about why they're moving, and if they're agitated and they can't give you a straight answer and they're kind of avoiding the questions, then they are hiding something. So if you don't know what it is, you're better off staying away from them and leaving them out of the property. Also be aware that of them giving you a mobile number for their landlord. It could be one of their friends. Just make sure you have a set of questions ready again for the landlord that you can catch them out. So if one of them is lying, you'll pick it up straight away and you know there's something going on, and just avoid them then at that stage. So the bullet points there: if the tenants are rushing you, beware of them. Don't ever take a tenant who's begging to get into the property straight away. Get the correct information, make the right decision. Ask how long they've lived in their current house. The longer is usually the better. Ask them why they're moving. Again, you'd be surprised at how many of them will tell you they're moving because the landlord wants them out. So the 7 steps not to rushing a decision when it comes to tenants. 1 is forget about your personal circumstances, whether banks or money or whatever it is. Forget about that. Make an informed, logical decision is number 2, by getting all the relevant information. Never take a tenant who says they have to move out straight away. Never do that, because they are always trouble, I've always found. Number 4, get all the facts. Number 5, watch their body language. You know, if they're hiding something, their body language will show it. Number 6, are they giving you straight answers to your questions? Number 7, beware no written references from landlords or an agency. Getting them written references from an agency is better than getting them from landlords, but just be very wary if they're handwritten. Again, check them out, make sure you've all the information and make an informed decision. So the case study is, over the past number of years I've gotten many properties to rent from landlords who tried to rent the properties on their own. Most of these landlords would have been emotionally attached to the property, again had big mortgages, it might have been their family home at one stage, and they still have feelings towards it, so it's hard for them sometimes to let go, and to see a guy like me coming in painting the whole thing white or magnolia, it does cause upset, especially if there's emotion attached to it. But you need to get away from that as a landlord, and you need to see the property as literally a box that produces rent, and you need to set up that box right and take the emotion out of it. So what they need to realise is that renting is a business and it cannot involve emotion whatsoever. I was recently given a property to rent by a landlord who was previously let the property to a single mother. She was a lovely person when we met her, or when he met her first, and seeing that it was his family home, he was glad to see a family getting the house to rent. He went in his gut feeling that day also, because she said, he went in his gut feeling. She said she had to move fast, and her lease on the other property was finished, so she had to move out. Again, she was in a rush. She was begging him to get into the property. He kind of went in his gut. He thought, yeah, look, she's grand, she's a lovely person, but don't be fooled by this statement. If they're getting out of a property fast, it's usually because the landlord wants them out. If a tenant's lease is finished and they want to stay on the property, any landlord will bend over backwards if they're a good tenant to leave them on the property. So just watch this. If they are rushing to get into the property, stay away from them. This particular landlord did nothing. He took the money and gave her the keys on the spot. The tenant moved in that day. The result was that the landlord found out after months of trying to evict her that she was taken to hospital with a heroin overdose. He finally got his property back, but ended up having to do major work on the renovating of the property and bring it back to condition to be that was to be rented again. Again, he didn't check the references. He took it on the day that, look, she had money, she was willing to move in straight away. She seemed like a nice person. He didn't check the references. It was just unfortunate that she overdosed on heroin, and as far as I know, she's okay now. But the landlord then had to spend thousands removing rubbish, putting in new furniture, repairing lots of other damage that was done to the house.